Do you love bees? Do you know that your own career could revolve around bees? And I'm not only talking about beekeeping. You can be a bee veterinarian and a bee pathologist. Rosa Maria Licon, you are a researcher in bee pathologist and you're a conservationist. Is that correct?
That's correct. That means I care about bees, their health, and I'm also conservationist. So it means also that I protect the bees, wild and domestic.
When did you realize that you were so passionate about bees?
When I was studying veterinary medicine, back then I wasn't that interested, but that was the first time I got in contact with bees. And then here in Europe, because I was studying veterinary medicine in Mexico, then I came to Europe and I heard about colony collapse disorder. And then I decided to become a bee pathologist, training in a veterinary school in France.
So, colony collapse disorder, what is that?
It's a combination of different problems that affect bees. It's related to climate change, to lack of nourishment, impact of the environment, pesticides, bacterial diseases, you name it. All it's a combination of problems. It's a multifactorial issue.
So, the apitherapy that you propose, is it something that is good for humans, or what does it consist of?
Okay, let me start from the beginning. I was a medical researcher in Germany, and my topic was a disease that affects humans. It's multiple sclerosis. And this disease is treated also with bee venom. So I went to a apitherapy conference, and yes, I saw the usage of bee venom for different problems, especially that one. So it reduces the pain of the patient. And so then I say, okay, we can use the products of the hive, also, royal jelly and pollen and beeswax and all those products to help human patients. And then I said, well, who is taking care of bees' health? And that's when I decided to enroll in a bee training for veterinarians.
So there is such a training for veterinarians.
Yes, that's only one school in France that offers this specific training. So I was very lucky that I could enroll in that school.
Are there any other schools in the rest of Europe or in the United States that you're aware of?
Well, there are other trainings, but you need to be a biologist, a scientist, and then you do research.
Okay, so you need to have a basic education, be it a veterinarian, and then you can basically specialize in bees.
Yes, so there are three areas where you can specialize about bees. One is as a veterinarian, so you take care of bees' health. Another one is as a researcher, so you can study many different aspects about bees. Could be health, could be genetics, could be nutrition, and so on. And another area which I haven't mentioned yet is becoming a professional beekeeper. So you need to study about 3 years. And to be a professional beekeeper, you need to have at least 150 hives.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, so anyone can do that. There are many schools to become a beekeeper.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, you need 3 years. So anyone can do that.
And so why should we, be attentive and about the bees. How can bees affect our lives so much?
Well, we hear a lot about bees now, and that's really justified, because without bees, 90% of plants with flowers cannot get pollinated. And from those 90% of flowers, many, many produce food. So we wouldn't have like 70% of our food arriving to our plates. So it's really, really important that we protect not only honeybees, but all type of bees and other pollinators like butterflies and many, many insects that pollinate. So that's one of the reasons. Other reasons are, ecological, because we need vegetation, right?
Yeah.
Many animals are herbivores. They need plants to eat, and then the herbivores are the food for carnivores and so on. So the food chain is there. So we really, really need the bees, and those are the main pollinators, and also the other pollinators we need to protect.
So they do play a very important role. And what you were saying about who's taking care of their health, I find it very, very interesting, because it's true when you're a beekeeper, I guess this is all about honey production and, the production around what the bee can produce, right? So and also wax and so forth. But in terms of health, which is what you have specialized in, what would be your daily work?
As a beekeeper, we wait until the spring because they are in a very passive mode. They don't sleep like the bears. They don't hibernate, but they are kind of inside the hive, feeding on the honey that they saved for the winter. And once we have about 15 degrees, they will come out and start foraging, getting nectar and pollen from flowers. So that's why the spring is their time, when they come out. So right now I'm not doing much, but once they are active, I will check the hive, see if number one, if they're alive, because there is a lot of mortality. About 30% of the hives die during the winter. And then once I check that they are in fact alive, I will check the health situation, if they're healthy, no infections and so on. If they have some food, because sometimes in spring we have bad weather. If it's raining or so, they don't go out. So I might need to feed them. And then once they start really going out, getting nectar and pollen, I need to add a super. So they start collecting nectar and transforming it into honey. And check for parasites and treat them if necessary, and enjoy the season of beekeeping, which is really, really something that I recommend. It's really exciting to work with bees.
When you're feeding them, what do you bring? Flowers so they can pollinate, or how do you feed them? What does it mean?
No, we don't bring them flowers. What we do is we give them some syrup. That means sugar with water, because that's what they need mostly. Of course, nectar is even better, because there you have some vitamins and minerals and other nutrients that you don't have in sugar. But at least they won't starve. If you give them some extra food like sugar, liquid form or in a solid form.
As you say it, it seems to be a seasonal work. So when you're a beekeeper, so can you actually earn your living from working with bees?
Yes, not so easy though, because they have so many problems, as I mentioned in the beginning. But if you have a good number of honey uh, beehives, you might earn your life out of selling the honey, propolis, beeswax, pollen and royal jelly, bee venom, all those products, they might be a good source of income for the beekeeper. Also, if you teach about bees in schools, there's a lot of demand. Children want to know how the colony develops and why they are important, why honey is not the most important service that we get or product from the honeybee, but pollination and all those things are very, very important to, inform to the people, to children and the general public.
Going back to your academic background, how many years did you study veterinary?
That was 5 years of a bachelor's degree, then a master's degree in ecology, PhD in medical research, and 1 year of bee specialization.
Okay, the one you did in France.
Right.
So that's quite a lot of years. I mean, the PhD is not obligatory, I guess.
No, I went, I changed fields several times. You can go straight to the specialization after becoming a veterinarian. But the ecology training I did is quite related, and medical research is also, it's been different but related at the same time.
What were the hardest times of your career?
Beekeeping, bee pathology, because that's when I connected with nature. I had been working in a laboratory doing basic medical research, and then when I started beekeeping, I realized that climate change is affecting nature in general, and it's getting worse with time, so it's accelerating. And when you work directly with animals, with plants, you see that we are in a really difficult situation. So that was very hard for me to see, that there are less and less flowers, there's drought, and yes, this is very clear when you work outside. When you leave the screen aside and in the lab and work in the field.
But you want to keep doing it. So even if it's hard, that's what you want to continue, right?
Yes, as mentioned, my aim is not to produce honey. This is the standard beekeeping goal,
Yeah.
to produce honey, but to inform about the importance of bees, to do conservation, participate in rewilding programs. You're able to preserve nature and to restore it, and that's all related to bees and conservation in general. That's my main aim. And in order to do that, we created an association called the Wild Bees Project. So this is a binational project that we have between Switzerland and France. So you're invited to see our website, because that's where we describe our work, and we get more and more people involved, and that's very nice to see.
Beautiful. Have you had different careers during your life?
I started as a veterinarian. Then I worked with different species of domestic animals like rabbits and cats and dogs in the clinic, and then I did some basic research virology. That was to do biological control of rabbits in Australia, because as you know, there are too many rabbits over there. And that took me to basic research in viral immunology. Then I came to Europe, to Germany for postdoc, and then to France to work in the industry. And that's where I got connected to animal work again with bees. One of the most satisfactory areas has been teaching in schools about bees. Children love it and they learn very quickly. So, as a teacher, that was one of my favorite activities.
That's beautiful. Are there any legends or myths of this job as a beekeeper or bee researcher?
Yes, the one kind of a myth is that in order to protect bees, you need to become a beekeeper. That's really wrong because now beekeeping became kind of a fashion and we have too many hives. So they're competing for food with other solitary bees, wild bees that nobody protects because there's no economical interest. So then, if you want to protect bees, if you want to save them, learn about the wild bees. There are about 600 species of wild bees in Switzerland, about 1,000 species in France, 20,000 species in the whole world. So it's a very large area. There's so much to learn. You know, all those bumblebees. There are about 40 species in France. So it's a lot to learn, and we need to keep the balance. We shouldn't have too many honeybees around.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, also the butterflies and other pollinators don't have enough food because there are too many honeybees. So that's a myth that we need to, you know.
And talking about balance, that makes me think of the concept of vegans who say we don't want to eat the honey because it comes from the bees. What is your knowledge about this? Does it hurt, the world of the bees to use their honey?
Honeybees have been selected to produce honey, right? So they produce an excess amount of honey, and that's what the beekeeper collects. They need honey over winter. So we have the snow, cold weather, they need to have some food as a reserve in their hive. So we shouldn't collect too much honey, only what they don't need anymore. Because once there's a spring here, they won't use that extra honey that remains in the hive. So if we don't exploit them in an excessive way, we only use the surplus of honey, then it's okay.
Okay, that's good to know from an expert that we're not making them suffer. And how about the prerequisites? Can anybody aspire for this job?
You need to enjoy nature. You shouldn't be afraid of bees. You shouldn't be allergic to bee stings, bee venom. That's really important. So you need to have a test done in a laboratory. Of course, we get protection, so we're not sting. But yeah, basically that you need to like working outside and nature and not be allergic.
And not be allergic. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for telling your story. Definitely original and very inspiring because it shows that there is a career and to preserve the life of bees, and they're an important element in the ecosystem and in our lives for sure. So thank you, and I hope that many more will start their career in protecting bees. Talking with Rosa Maria reminded me of how many diverse and beautiful options we have in our lives for our own professional career. If you have a career you want to share with our listeners, write me at Jobtalespodcast at gmail.com. Bye for now.